Hey YouTube, Hillbilly Rideshare Driver. Once again, I sent Uber. This is a follow-up to my last video, WTF Uber, taking 60% and stealing my long-distance pickup. This is a follow-up, which there may be another follow-up, because I haven't had another Uber request since that one, which the next one is going to decide whether I just say the hell with it and go home and call it a weekend. But I sent Uber a support message because, well, I was not happy. And here's their pretty much canned reply. Go back here. I submitted it under whatever. So here I'll go ahead and read this, because I know that if you're watching on your phone, you probably aren't gonna pause the video or be able to, especially if you're driving. So basically I wrote them and said there wasn't a correct category for my issue, which there wasn't there in the help section. This fare was calculated incorrectly. First, Uber took 60%. Second, the long distance pickup fee is wrong. I was over 16 miles away. I should have gotten over $12 just for the long distance pickup like I have in the past. This is clearly wrong. Their response: hi Bob, thanks for reaching out. I understand your concern regarding the service fee, and I would like to inform you that service fee amounts vary per trip. So basically what they're telling me is on some rides they're going to take 60% or maybe 70% or maybe less, maybe not, probably not. They are not a set percentage. You can always see what the rider paid and what Uber received under fare details, trip details page for any given trip. I am aware of that, which is exactly where I got my information. Hello, Captain Obvious. Moreover, we also reviewed this trip, and it looks like you did receive a long distance pickup fee of $2.11 on this fare. I actually only picked up a long distance fee of $1 and change, but there was a service fee of some change that made it $2.11 total. So, if you have any questions regarding specific trip, please send us trip time and date and brief explanation what you'd like us to look into so we can help. Pretty much canned response, other than a few details they included. So I included the trip time and date. Request 626, 427, 18. I got $2.11 for over a 16-mile pickup. This is unacceptable. My last trip with a pickup that long was over $12 just for the long distance pickup fee. Now, don't know what they're going to do, but I'm going to keep responding. Maybe they'll cut me off. Maybe they'll punish me in the Uber way. It seems in the past that whenever I contact support for any reason of a negative consequence or negative on their side, like missing trips, missing cancellation fees and things like that, they tend to put me in timeout for a week or so. And by a week or so, I mean I probably, if I do drive tomorrow, which still up in the air, chances are I will receive 0 pings, if at all possible. And by all possible, if I drive this area and there is absolutely any other cars on the map, they will get the pings. I will not. If I were to drive, I will probably go to Morgantown, because there are just too many requests for the number of riders, and they would pretty much be cutting their nose off to spite their face. And I don't think they well, they might do it. They just might do it. They have been known to do so in the past. Anyway, that was that request. I also sent them another request because I really believe that I had a rider that was trying to scapegoat the whole system and try to get a free ride. I sent them a request on that too, and they basically sent me the canned answer of well, it's really long, but basically they said it's community guidelines. We take stuff like that very seriously. We don't like riders, you know, blah blah blah. We expect partners and riders to act in accordance with community guidelines, and disrespectful or inappropriate rider behavior could lead to deactivation of their account. To that end, we will do our best not to pair you with this rider in the future. That wasn't my point. I don't know if that was which rider it was. I hope they're saying that they're going to find that rider and not pair me with that particular person. I'm not 100% certain that the one I suspect is the actual one. We hope you'll continue to let us know and blah, blah, blah. Please rest assured that a rating of one trip will have little impact. I understand that. It isn't the rating or the impact thereof. It isn't. It's the fact that this little shit lied. Straight up lied. Professionalism in driving. I can't do anything about certain issues, but I can do professionalism and driving. Professionalism, obviously, I'm not a professional driver, as I said in the past. Order a limousine if you want a professional. And pay accordingly. For that matter, order a taxi. They're supposed to be professional. See how that goes. I can guarantee you I'm more professional than any taxi driver. Well, I won't say any. There might be some pretty daggone good taxi drivers out there. I don't want to take away from all taxi drivers, but I can guarantee you that I am more professional than any taxi driver in this town. Believe me, I've met them. I've seen a few of them. I know what they're all about. Anyway, and my driving. I have video and audio of both outside my windshield and inside my truck. If there was a driving issue or a professionalism issue that someone apparently was offended by something, I have no idea what it was. I generally do not initiate foul language. I usually never go to F-bomb or anything like that, but I may say shit or hell or damn or something of that nature, but only after the customer has broken the ice with that, so to speak. I generally speaking, do not share negative stories about or negative information or put Uber or Lyft in a bad company light. The worst thing I will say may be something to the effect that if they ask which I like better to drive for between Uber and Lyft, normally I will either try to dance around the answer or every once in a blue moon I will voice an opinion and say, you know, at this moment I like Uber better, and it's Uber. It has been Uber for several months that I like better. The main reason was the long distance pickup fee, because, you know, at least if you're going to drive the distance, you're going to get paid for your trip there. Lyft will not. They will ping your ass 30 miles away, as I've said before, and not give you a plug nickel for it. So I rarely say anything negative about either one, but occasionally I will say that. I normally just say, well, you know, it's always a cat and mouse game. You know, one does one thing and the other one, you know, plays catch up to try to top them later, you know, down the road. I will say to you that Lyft is pretty much sucking hind tit here lately. They have not stepped up to the plate with any incentives really for drivers. They have dropped their driver referral fees to nothing. Basically, ride credit, I think, was the last thing I saw. They want to give me ride credit for referring a driver. No thanks. They pay no long distance pickup fees. The rider basically gets a 5-star rating if you don't rate them within 24 hours. And basically it doesn't even ask you to rate them after the trip anymore. You have to go to that particular ride and scroll down to rate passenger. I'll show you if you are not a Lyft driver or don't know. So basically, move this up here. You basically have to go there, scroll down to the ride, individual ride, and there's the last ride, and you have to go down here and hit rate passenger, and you have 24 hours to do that. And if you don't do that, if you don't rate the passenger in 24 hours, then you basically, they get a 5-star. They automatically get 5 stars. So to me, I believe that if a passenger doesn't rate, the driver should get 5 stars as well. And they have done a pretty good job of hiding this in the app, where you have to go hunt for it. You have to remember to go back to your rides individually and do it. There again, I think that if Lyft is going to do that, then they should do the same for the driver. It should be an automatic 5-star if the customer gives no rating. I mean, after all, why wouldn't it be a 5-star rating? If I as a driver don't rate a passenger and they want to give them a 5-star, then, you know, I can just say, okay, I don't want to rate the passenger. I'll just let it go and allow them to be 5 stars. I won't. It's just a step saved for me. Whereas if there was an issue with a passenger, I will scroll through to find the ride and give the rating. But here's what could happen. You have 24 hours. Let's say you do 20 rides in a day. You do 20 Lyft rides. And you go through and you do the rides and you haven't rated any of your passengers. You just have went through, you were busy, whatever. You did 20 some rides, and for whatever reason, you know, one rider stuck out in your mind, and you decided you were going to, you know, now you have some time, you're going to go back through and you're going to find that passenger and you're going to give him the rating they deserve. Okay. Out of 20 rides, do you know which one that is? Chances are probably a 50-50 chance, maybe a 60-40 chance that you will be 100% sure which ride it is. But what if you give the wrong passenger a bad rating? That's the problem I see with it. You're going to have passengers get bad ratings that don't deserve bad ratings. And you're also, you know, that's the problem I have with Uber as well on the reverse, is that the passenger has several days. They really won't give you an exact time of how long the rider has to rate you. They say, and I see no proof of this, they say that the passenger, if the passenger doesn't rate you and they request another ride, they will be prompted to rate you at that time. There's no requirement. There should be. And theoretically, they shouldn't see your rating of them until after they rate you. But here's the deal. They have several days to do it. So if they get a ride to a bar and they don't rate you, which is pretty common, they don't rate you, they're going to the bar to have a good time, and, you know, they do whatever they do, you know. So they go in the bar, they have a good time, they decide they're going to go home, and they, what? They call an Uber. Uber's, you know, could you please rate your last ride? No, I'm not going to do that right now. So they request their next Uber. Their next Uber shows up, and it's a real shit show. You know, the Uber guy was just a jerk, or maybe he's not. Maybe he isn't. Maybe, but for whatever reason. Okay, so they get home, they stumble into their bed, they pass out, they wake up the next morning, and they see the receipts for their Uber rides, and they decide they're going to rate someone. So they go back to rate the drivers. They don't know which is which. They, you know, whatever, you know, well, hell, I'll just give them all bad ratings. Or, you know, it's just bad. They just, if they request another ride, they should either have the option, number one, to rate that ride right then before they request another ride, or that's it. They either shouldn't be able to rate the ride to the bar, or that driver should automatically get 5 stars. That's just the way it is. That's the way it should be. That's the way I feel it should be. Anyway, there I go, off the tracks, down the slippery slope of rant. Any hoozle. Other than, I mean, let's face it, Lyft's app sucks tailwind. It is really cow farts. It really is. It is not, there's nothing there. It's a basic app that a 14-year-old kid could probably write in a weekend in their basement. They really done nothing to improve on it. And even their website is pretty basic. You get very little information. You can go there and check your last, whatever they say your rating was or whatever, but it's pretty crappy. It's pretty crappy of an app overall. And another thing is, you can't, Lyft's app sucks blow, because it gives you the rider payment of $7.25. That's it. It's 2.63 miles, 7 minutes, 57 seconds, and there's no breakdown. There's nothing. It's $7.25 minus Lyft fees, $1.81. I get $5.44. There is no, you get paid this much per mile, and this is the fee you get. There isn't even that. I need to break out a calculator and figure it out, but I have figured it out in the past and compared several rides to Uber on distance and figured out that it is, in fact, cheaper. I get paid less for it on Lyft than I do on Uber by figuring out the mileage. I mean, if you take 97.9750 times 2.63 miles, and then take the same booking fee that you get for Uber, you'll come up a few cents short. It's not much, but then if you take into account surge and long distance pickup, which I'm not too sure about that now, but if you take that into account, Uber, it definitely, I do make more on Uber, but even this is shit. You know, it's, you know, I'm looking at $3 a gallon. So, all right. There's one on Ridge. An Uber. Let me have it. All right, that's an Uber. 2.3 miles away. You saw it. It's Christie. Get rid of some of these windows. I am going to go ahead and end the video, because this totally hoses my thing, I will let you know this next ride once I'm finished, and that will determine whether I just say the hell with it for the weekend and go home and drink some beer or not. So stay tuned. 3 of the fuck Uber. Later, y'all.